I am speaking to the version of you that's stuck in something confusing, intense, and emotionally consuming, but still calling it love. And I need you to hear this clearly. You're not necessarily in love. You're emotionally hooked on inconsistency. And those two things feel similar in the body, but they are completely different in reality. You don't fall for steady love. You don't feel pulled toward emotional clarity. You get pulled toward unpredictability, the sudden attention, the silence after, the return that feels like relief instead of peace. One moment he's close, the next he's distant. And instead of stepping back, you step deeper in, because your mind starts treating inconsistency like meaning, like depth, like chemistry, like this must be something real. But what's actually happening is far more psychological than romantic. Your nervous system is getting trained, not in love, but in anticipation. This is where it gets uncomfortable.
Inconsistent attention creates a stronger emotional grip than stable attention. Why? Because your brain starts chasing relief, not connection. You don't miss him as a person. You miss the version of him that sometimes shows up. So your mind builds a loop. Wait, hope, receive, withdraw, confusion, repeat. And every cycle deepens the attachment, not because it's healthy, but because it's unpredictable. And unpredictability keeps your attention trapped. You're not thinking clearly anymore. You're reacting emotionally. This is the stage where you start overfunctioning without realizing it. You become more patient than you normally are, more understanding than you actually feel, more flexible than your boundaries allow. You start adjusting yourself to maintain access. You don't ask for consistency anymore. You start managing your expectations instead. You tell yourself things like, he's just busy. He's complicated. He needs time. I should be more understanding. But underneath all of that is something quieter. You are slowly abandoning your emotional needs just to avoid losing access to him. And that's where self-worth starts eroding silently. Not through one big moment, but through repeated small compromises. At some point, something changes in you. You get tired of guessing, tired of waiting, tired of emotional uncertainty being your normal, and you start pulling back, not to manipulate him, not to test him, but because your nervous system can't sustain the chaos anymore. And here's where something interesting happens. He notices, not because he suddenly understands love better, but because the dynamic changes. Your availability is no longer automatic. Your attention is no longer guaranteed. And now he returns. Sometimes quickly, sometimes intensely, sometimes just enough to restart the cycle, but not necessarily to stabilize it, because the pattern he was comfortable with was never emotional depth. It was emotional access without emotional responsibility. This is the part where clarity hurts a little, but frees you completely. You weren't deeply in love. You were neurologically conditioned to inconsistency. And once your nervous system starts associating anxiety with connection, you confuse stress for chemistry. You confuse uncertainty for attraction. You confuse emotional highs and lows for something real. But real connection doesn't do this to you. Real connection doesn't confuse you. Real connection doesn't make you feel like you're constantly waiting to be chosen. It feels stable. It feels clear. It feels safe, even when it's intense. And the moment you start recognizing the difference, something powerful happens. You stop chasing people who activate your anxiety, and you start valuing people who regulate your nervous system. That's not detachment from love. That's return to self-worth.